Welcome to The Glowing Goddess. We are 4 women on a mission to positively impact, inspire, and ignite the collective consciousness with unique perspectives of empowering wisdom, divine guidance, and enlightening activation codes of truth. Tune in weekly for brand new episodes with a variety of epic content and tap into the magical offerings we have aligned for you. Thank you for being here. We are so grateful for your time and energy. Let's get glowing.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Monnier. I am a healer and coach, and I help people release their painful emotional cycles so they can tap into their authenticity and the truth of who they are. I'm so happy to be with you guys today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eleni. I am a goddess soul, mother, sister, daughter. I'm also a healer, a best-selling author. I am a ambassador for sovereignty with iHeart Coaching Academy and CEO of CaliTaros.life. I'm really just passionate at this time in helping the next generations and the children. So happy to be here.
Hey everybody, I'm Renee Marcou. I'm a music producer and songwriter, and I'm the CEO of the iHeart Academy, where I guide women to rise into their financial and spiritual wealth, inspiring them to own their divine calling and worth and lead with confidence.
Hello, everyone. My name is Krysta Lee. I am a woman, a mother, a wife, best-selling author, and a life coach as well. Former singer, songwriter, and actress, and I am so excited to be here with you all today. I'm so proud of these beautiful queens here. We've been loving coming together week after week to bring you all of our best selves and share so much with you. And today we are going to talk about how to channel your inner phoenix and rise from the ashes. And this topic is so near and dear to my heart. As far as, you know, the rebirth of self goes and rising again and again after the fall. I know for myself personally, I'm no stranger to these things, dealing with grief, dealing with loss, hard times, and things like that. So for me, I thought I'd just share quickly a little bit of a backstory with my first experience in dealing with grief and loss and things of the sort. I lost a parent when I was 11. My dad was diagnosed with cancer when I was about 8 years old, and he passed on 1/11 in 1995. So I'm dating myself a little bit here. But you know, it was something that's honestly been a big blessing for me, a beautiful blessing in disguise, because it's given me so much to work with as a human, and in the work that I do and the work that I'm here to do for the collective, here to serve and to help others heal along their journey. So although it was, of course, a most trying time in my life, I was able to transmute the process with a lot of help and guidance from family and friends and people in the fields of you know, working with young individuals with loss, with grief, and that sort of thing. So I feel like over the years, I've been able to add to my toolkit on how to deal with these sorts of things. And then since then, of course, like most people do, I've had losses in other sectors of my life, from relationships and jobs and pets, which most recently happened to me as well. Just a couple of weeks ago, I lost my dear little Madeira. She was our fur family member of 14 and a half years, a lab collie mix. And I know for all the pet lovers out there, you probably understand what it's like to go through the loss of a loved one like that. So, you know, these types of things that happen in our lives, they give us permission and this space to become this phoenix, to rise from the ashes and to soar again and again and again, despite the falls that we experience. And for me, I feel like personally, I love to write about it. So whether I'm writing music or journaling or writing a poem or a story or a book, for me, that's how I like to process my grief and go through the 5 stages, of course. Thought I'd highlight them here quickly in case if any of our listeners aren't familiar, but there are 5 to 7. Some people say there's a little bit more, you know, stages of grief and loss and things like that. But the main ones are denial, and then it goes into anger, and then bargaining, And then, what comes, is it sadness and then acceptance? My goodness, I'll have to look them back up again. But anyway, we all have our own ways on how we deal with these sorts of things. And I think that like having a compelling future is something that's really helped me to grow through these processes. Like I know for me, if I have something to look forward to, even if it's a small little thing like the next day or the week later or in the coming year, that helps me stay focused while I'm healing. And I think it's super important to honor the full cycle of healing and not just try and like spiritually bypass and stay positive, because I think as these multidimensional beings, we do need to process this energy. Otherwise, it can get stuck in our bodies and transmute into a dis-ease physically. So yeah, those are like my little tidbits on challenging times. I know you ladies would probably have some amazing things to offer, and I would so love to hear what you have to say.
Krysta, it's funny you're talking, not funny, but you're talking about loss. And my personal story is my mother, father, and brother have all passed in different ways. Two of which were very tragic and sudden, and one was a long drawn out illness. And recently what I've been going through is really looking at the dynamics, not from the loss, but those relationships and what they were in my life, and how there are belief systems that might not be serving me anymore. And it's particularly my mother dynamic. She was a big self-sacrificer. And what I mean by that was she put her happiness aside because my father was a very abusive alcoholic. So our house was full of a lot of turmoil. So she was often, putting aside anything that was important to her just to keep the peace in the home. And for me, I've noticed that not at the same extent or same level, but that belief system is something that has surfaced. And I felt her. I felt my mother all around me, like, let's heal this together. I didn't get a chance to do it when I walked in a human vessel, but let's do this together. And I started to really evaluate, like recently, I'm just looking at areas of my life, like, where am I participating in activities or engaging with people that just don't feel aligned, that just doesn't, get me going, or it kind of almost has that icky or dread feeling. Like I'm done taking those kinds of commitments or engaging in those kinds of relationships. And you know what? We really keep it real here. So I'm going to keep it mighty real in this moment. Things like faking it, ladies, faking it. That is self-sacrifice. That is self-sacrifice. That is pretending that something pleased you to validate another's happiness or make them feel good. That's self-sacrifice. And I kind of looked at that, looking at patterns and relationships throughout my adult life. Where was that part of what I've been going through? And I just, I'm no longer in a position of it being that important if everyone likes me. And that's kind of what self-sacrifice is about, right? Like I go through a breakup, or like my pattern in the past is like, I went through a breakup. Like I want everyone to still like me. I want the mom to still like me, the whole friend crew, even if that meant putting myself in the seat of a victim and having to explain my position and justify why I made the decisions I made, or why they left, or why it didn't work. I don't need to do that. Like I don't need other people's approval for my own happiness. And these are like the bits of clarity that have been coming to me, and much through, like Krysta said, the journaling, just journaling it out and just sitting in the quiet, and these little flashes would come to me like, that was self-sacrifice. That's a self-sacrifice behavior. You're putting someone else's let me put it this way. Someone else is vulnerable. Maybe they're going through something, and you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you're going to say yes to things that don't resonate with you, or just agree. And I'm kind of at a point where I'm looking at that, like, am I serving them in a positive way by doing that, by self-sacrificing? Am I really? And no, you're not. So I'm kind of just at that level of growth right now, just owning it. Everything feels authentic, everything that feels like my voice. And I don't know, it's been beautiful. It's been pretty eye-opening when I started to really dig. Yeah.
Love that.
Right.
So good. I'm actually noticing some of the similar themes showing up in my life. And like the metaphor I got, I heard it's called the leaky bucket. Like it's like, where is my energy leaky? And kind of circling back to some of the themes we were talking about, kind of this like almost like this death and rebirth energy. In the last week, I've been processing some super heavy anger, and anger is not something I normally have gone to. And so it's why I'm processing old angers, because I used to stuff it. And so I actually had a couple moments where I was alone in my car and I was just like, screw this and screw that. And, you know, I was like, and this, and this. And I just allowed myself to like kind of go through it and just acknowledging the emotions, because I mean we're taught that certain emotions are bad when we're growing up, and you know we can't express these things. And it actually felt to me, and it speaks to like this phoenix rising, because it's like every time there is this like death of self, there's this rebirth into more of the truth of who we are. And so when we are able to release these old characters we played, and mine, I can relate, Eleni, like there was so much of me that was like, I'd go through a breakup too and I'd be like, well, I hope the mom doesn't think that I'm like a bad person or I did something wrong. It's like, no, and who cares if she does? That's her stuff. And it's the programming, right? It's the good girl, good boy programming, right? We have, when we're little kids, it's like, oh, be a good girl and eat your dinner and you get a lollipop. Like, what? Like, the programming is so real. And so when we realize that we don't have to people please, not everybody's going to like us, especially when you're stepping into this type of work and you're being in that authentic truth and you're unleashing like all parts of yourself, like it's actually probably going to end up being fairly triggering to some people, and it's going to be inspiring to others. So it's just being okay with that, because it's like, which is it, full authenticity or making sure everybody likes you? I'm going to choose authenticity.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. I'm resonating with everything that y'all are saying too. And, you know, I keep hearing this topic of relationships coming up, which is pretty cool. Cause I mean, obviously the way that we flow, we're always building off one another. It's just the divine happenings. And one pattern for me that I like continue to find myself like rising from, like changing the patterns, changing the ways, is being in relationship with others, finding myself in those moments of where am I people pleasing, these ways, right? Like I grew up with basically a village. My whole family raised me, for crying out loud. My mom's side was very hands-on with me. My grandmother, she was like a second mom. But the atmosphere wasn't one of like always great health. Like people weren't always, you know, making healthy choices. And so, but it was like a wild situation for me because I just grew up being so very much celebrated. By the time my grandmother had passed away, she was the one who really instilled so much magic in me. I was 9 years old and I didn't know a thing about processing grief. I didn't lose anybody up until that point. And she was, like I said, my second mom. And so there was a lot of the people pleasing, plus watching my mom like go through it. My mom adopted her two younger brothers because they were under 18 years old. So we had two new boys with us. She was raising 4 kids when she really only birthed 2. And so the dynamic totally changed. And just watching my mom and watching what she had to do and what she had went through. And she has that people pleasing energy, if you will, because of her story and where she's come from. She's the oldest of 6. She was very much held to a standard of you have to guess what I'm saying, you thinking you have to do the right thing. And my mom is trying to figure out, well, what is the right thing? She's, you know, as a young kid, naturally that got passed down to me. And my mom and I to this day are best friends. So this is nothing against her. It's just a true telling story of how the patterning gets passed down. It's not that she told me you have to be this way. It was the observer in me taking that into my life and making it my story. And where I've seen it become so potent in my life is with romantic relationships, with the partners that I've magnetized in my life, the vows that I've made to myself of settling or not enoughness or not owning my value completely because of X, Y, and Z. And just having those rebirths after every relationship ending has been so empowering in the sense of like, damn, I thought like a couple relationships ago, I had like this, like, here we go, I'm ready, right? And then more keeps unfolding for me. And it's just this piece of like, I'm not going to sit here and dwell in, oh, Renee, it's because this happened way back in the day and you're just carrying it on. It's like, all right, let's be present with self. And for me, this works, but looking at what is the new patterning coming up. And I do it by listening to the thoughts that I'm having about the situation, the thoughts that I'm having in the relationship, because that's my greatest way to tell like what patterning am I still holding on to when I'm hearing and being conscious of what's going on internally. And so it's a journey and it will ever keep changing, right? I think that goes even for relationships in my life as well, that, maybe old friendships I've grown out of or old partnerships and collaborations and things like that, when we say yes to our growth, when we say yes to rising, if things fall, then we get to have that rebuild. And as we do, like Krysta said, Eleni said, writing, that's so important to me. I love that as well. I know Amanda was mentioning some really cool, potent stuff too. And everything is just, it's like this beautiful process. And it's not that I'm sitting here trying to get it all done all at once. It's like, let's be mindful. Let's take time. Let me flow in this. Let me feel what it feels like to feel those emotions of pain and sadness and anger and all these things without shaming myself for feeling it. And then recreating, right? So yeah, it's
Powerful there though, Renee. What you say is that not shaming yourself through the process.
exactly
Right? Because how many of us do that? Or have done that in the past? I'm sure a lot of our viewers can relate to that. Feeling guilty for having these feelings or these patterns that keep showing up.
Yes, exactly. When you release the guilt around it, you give yourself and the shadow self that big hug that you've been looking for the whole time, that you've been wanting the other person to give to you. And you're just like, oh, I can give it to myself. Okay, this feels so much better. And like, love yourself through the process, because to be in the state of joy for an entire lifetime, I don't know if it's possible for some, but it surely hasn't been possible for me. So it's okay to lean into the other emotions and to really feel through it. And back then, like I was sharing before, I never allowed myself to feel. It was always bottle it up, put it under the rug, can't show anybody my vulnerability. And then it's, as adulthood, it comes out as disease. It comes out as all these different things.
Yeah. And one thing I've noticed through all of this and through these up levels, if you will, and really just remembering who we are at a very foundational level, is that sometimes there's like this in-between state when we're choosing to step into more of what we desire and more of what we are, and we're releasing the stuff. And we might be like, gosh, I feel kind of like blank and unlike myself. And that can be because you've just released a big structure that's been so part of your life for so long, but you're creating space for that new. For me, it's been showing up in my friendships as well as like my romantic relationships, but my friendships, because I was like, you know what? I'm giving so much more in a lot of my relationships than I'm receiving. And it feels so out of balance. And I don't desire this out of my friendships. So several friendships literally released themselves from my life. And then I'm noticing all these like beautiful friendships showing up because I'm like, I desire like deep, intimate, like loving friendships, like more expansive friendships. And so I've noticed, and maybe you guys can relate to this, where sometimes there's that in-between phase where the universe hasn't quite caught up to like our frequency and what we've embodied. It wants to show up, it's ready to show up. And it's like, just, trusting that it's going to be happening, that it's coming your way. Like, because when you release that old, it clears that space out for the newness and for those things that you so deeply desire to have the space to show up, because you're being so intentional about it too.
Right on. It's like the self-love aspect. That's when you power in with just focusing on self when those holes need to fill in. And I'm going to share with all our viewers something we all kind of connected with before we filmed this. One of my favorite affirmations, should you be releasing the old, I let go of worn out conditions. I let go of worn out things. I welcome in the new, and just proclaim that over and over. I literally had that one on Post-its around my house when I was going through a breakup. So I get it.
Oh, I love that. I think it's too, I think it's like the art of like unbecoming and peeling back the layers. And so as we shed these pieces of ourselves, the relationships, everything that's kind of taking itself out of our lives, we get that space, like you were mentioning, Amanda, like that open, equanimous, neutral space to just be. And then we can just be who we are, like really authentically and genuinely, without all these other distractions that perhaps were taking us off course. And so it really is a blessing in disguise when we can lose something perhaps that can give us this great gift of something to come. And I think that's so wonderful that you mentioned that, because that's what I feel like too. I feel like there is oftentimes that plateau, almost, it feels like, in between, where something is gone and something is coming, and this space that we reside in at times. And it's really interesting because I think instead of like wanting to do or be more, it's almost like, for me, like, what can I cut back on? Like, how can I simplify and just be in this space of just self, and without all the other extra things. And I think, like, the older and the wiser I get, the more I realize I'm really leaning into this simple and easy flow of nurturing and loving and connection, expansion, all these things like you're mentioning as well, Amanda. So I think that's so great. I love that.
I love that too. And here on our show, The Glowing Goddess, we like to share tips. So we like to bring our tips each week, and I'm just jumping in with it because, Krysta, my tip for the week follows what you were just talking about,
Oh,
and is the simplicity, right? Just falling into simplicity. So I find this is a manifesting tip. If you're looking to deliberately create something, the best way to allow that whatever it is you're looking to create is to detach. And I'm sure we've all heard that, and like, oh, how do I detach? How do I not think about it? And for me, it's harmony. It's focusing on balance in life and the simple pleasures of joy, just the simple truth of harmony. And where is that present in my life? And just really being in the now moments in harmony. And that can even be, organizing your drawers and feeling that great sense of accomplishment, and making sure you're nurturing your mind, body, and spirit. And while you're focusing on all those other things, you're not obsessing about whatever it is you have on your vision board or you've been writing about and scripting about. Because sometimes when we focus too much on what we're looking to deliberately invite in, we are kind of putting up a block, depending on whatever method it is that we're using to deliberately create. So my tip was, just simply focusing on harmony to allow the universe to bring you what your heart's desires.
I love that, Eleni. Thank you so much for sharing. My tip today is a health-related tip for those who are looking to up their super seed intake. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but this is a little hack that I love to do. So there are 6 super seeds mixed all together in here, and I shake this on everything. So for me, like, I don't really do supplements or anything like that. And because I'm vegetarian, my family's vegetarian, we need to, of course, make sure that we're getting all the proper proteins and minerals and nutrients and everything to keep us healthy. So I literally researched all the best super seeds and what's all in them and everything. And this is like the superhero combo. So there's flax seeds, sesame seeds, both black and just regular sesame seeds, chia seeds, hemp hearts, and teff, which is from Egypt. It was a newer one that I discovered. And literally I'll sprinkle it on everything, like breakfast, smoothies, pizza, pasta, you name it. It goes on everything, even on ice cream. So we're having it multiple times per day. And it literally changed the game for me. I have more energy. I feel good. I'm healthy. My iron is great. Like, I did some blood work recently, and all of my levels are, like, my baseline levels are normal and great and optimal in most of the cases too. So I think it's because of the super seeds. So definitely grab a bunch of them, mix them together, and then you don't have to think about it. I keep this in the fridge and I just sprinkle on everything.
Hey, Krysta, would you mind on our Facebook group, on our Facebook page, maybe putting your little super seed recipe in there?
Yes.
That you recommend? I mean, since you've done a world of research and they're working so well for you, I would love to just be able to look that up and put mine together too for my little shaker.
Absolutely, I will.
Thanks, sister.
You're welcome.
Krista, amazing, amazing tip. I just love that. You always have such great, like, let's amp up the body tips. And I'm like, yes, I'm subscribing to all of them. So thank you, ladies. Today, my tip is going to be, as we rise through and become the phoenix again, is a grounding tip. So, you know, I love crystals, bringing in an onyx. So if you can see this one, it's an onyx. It's mainly black. Sometimes it has like some gray colors to it, might have some white stripes in there. This is one that's polished, so it didn't come out of the earth like this, but it came out of the earth looking something like this. So you can get one that's from the rough, one that's polished. My grandmother actually even left these behind, which is, I'm just having that wow divine connection that I brought her into this talk today too. But these are her onyx and pearl necklace that she left to my mom and me. So you can wear it as jewelry as well. And so just helping you ground your energy, right? It can just really help you just kind of come back into the present, really ground into the earth. You know, some people, it works for crystals work, but all you got to do is just grab an onyx. You can find them for like $1. You can find them for, you know, much more. Obviously, if you're going into jewelry or something like this, like it's going to be, you know, a lot more expensive. But just bringing that into your life, all you got to do is pop it in your pocket. Or you can meditate with it, or you can bring it in the shower with you. You can pop it in your shoe. Like that might get uncomfortable, but I used to, honestly, and I do this sometimes, I put crystals in my bra. Like sometimes I just know, like, okay, baby, like we're putting it right over the heart. It's going in my bra. And other times when I don't wear bras, I'm just like, okay, pocket, you'll do. And then I'll just bring something that's comfortable like this. Usually they're a bit smaller if I'm putting them in my clothing. But just really feeling into that, letting this be a source for me where I can really trust into, okay, I'm setting the intention of being more grounded. Thank you, Crystal, for doing your job. And it really just helps me get into that grounded space. If you want to use it with meditation or just some awesome breathing, take some of the amazing tips of breathing that Amanda has given you in past episodes, and you can hold this in your hand while receiving the breath. So that is my divine tip for today.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun, Renee. I can just picture you at the airport getting like flagged and just pulling just a ton of crystals out of your bra, like TSA
yes.
just patting you down. You got piles of crystals coming out of your top.
Let me tell you something real quick. I brought through, like, you must have read my mind, because I brought through a huge pink quartz wand, and I had it not in my shirt, but I had it in my carry-on bag. They pulled me over and was like, ma'am, what is this device here? I was like, oh, like he's like, do you use this for body massage? I'm like, yes. I'm like, whatever you need to know, like to get me through, because I need to catch this flight right now. But I was like dead embarrassed, and I was like, okay. I literally just hold on. I have my crystals, that's my thing, but I'm like, I'm just going to tell you whatever I can to make sure I get on the flight. But it was very like intimidating for me. But that was just an interesting shaped one. But something like this, they're usually not going to.
Yeah, they have the, I don't know if this was what it was, but they have the wand wands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't
that's a thing.
one of those, I'll tell you, but I had a shape that it like looked like a wand, and then I was just gonna go with whatever he said, because I was like, I don't know, does he understand Reiki? I'm like, is that gonna understand Reiki if I had to try to tell him right now that this like is what I use this for? You know, I was like, we'll go with that.
Oh my gosh. So
it's a massage tool.
Oh man. Well, my tip for the day is kind of a two-parter. So the first thing that I would recommend and invite everybody to do, because it's so powerful when we can get clear and intentional about our desires. So whether you write it down or if you want to do like a voice note, getting just really clear. Maybe it's just one thing, something that you just deeply desire. Maybe it's been in your heart for so long and it's just kind of gone to the wayside. And then actually stepping into that frequency. And what helps me do this is closing my eyes, dropping and focusing my energy on my heart and just saying, I choose the end result of, it could just be a life I love, divine union, and to just spend several moments in that frequency. I choose this, I choose this, and allow that frequency to just come through your whole being, because in the field of potential, all potentials, it's already done. It's literally already done, because time is not linear. And the second part is kind of a little belief. It helps when you notice those things coming up that are not in alignment with what you desire. And so it is so simple. Like, let's say you have a story that comes up that, well, but I'm not worthy of that. Just intentioning the connection with your higher self and your own source connection, the light of source, and just, I cancel, clear, delete, and destroy that belief now. I ask for support in doing so if needed. And I'm willing to address anything that needs to come up, because sometimes these things are actually so quick and so easy to release. It's like, boom. I've noticed actually the ancestral stuff can be easier because there's not all of our attachments and stories to it. Whereas some of the stuff that we've used to keep us safe, right, as children, like that, it can be a little stickier. So sometimes that's where the soul lessons want to be acknowledged, or the emotions want to be moved through, right? But oftentimes, with the belief work, if it's something where you hear it coming up, I cancel, clear, delete, and destroy that. So I would offer and suggest those two little practices to really allow some momentum to start flowing. And energy work is actually really simple. So sometimes people think it's like so much harder than it is. It's the number one thing is intention. So intention is so powerful. And oftentimes when you say, I desire this thing, then like we talked about, some stuff might need to fall away in order for that to show up, right? Because we can't, the programs that are running can make that a little bit difficult. So I just wanted to share that with everyone today. And I know we're going to flow into some special offers that we have for you guys as well.
Yes, Amanda, I love that so much. Thank you for sharing those tips. So great. I am doing this after the call today. So for my offer this week, I would love to offer a free container, one-on-one time with me for a half hour for anyone that's currently going through something that they're struggling with, dealing with the loss of any sort of kind. Yeah, I'll put the link in the Facebook notes there to book with me, and I'm happy to hold space for you as you navigate through these trying times.
And I love that. I mean, that's generous, right? Just to as we help one person heal, we ultimately help all of mankind and the whole collective kind of switch in vibration. So thank you so much for such a selfless offer. My offer this week, I only do this a few times a year. I open the container for custom meditations. Whether you are looking to heal a certain area or part of your physical vessel, or you're looking to manifest something juicy and specific, I will make you a custom meditation, a 15-minute meditation. I typically run that for $49, but for our viewers, I'm going to knock 20% off and do that for $39 per meditation. But I only open this maybe 2 to 3 times a year. So jump in while it's hot and available.
Woo.
Wow.
Oh, I love that. You're going to have like hundreds of meditations on the books. Who knows? It's going to be great. So I have beefed up my free meditation hub. So also with the theme of meditations, feel free to drop onto my website, amandamonnier.com, and you can access the meditation hub there. There'll be a little pop-up, and I have a whole variety of different things that I just added to my meditation hub as part of some free offerings. So if that feels good to you, you can take a look if anything resonates. I have different stuff around womb work, money stuff. There's all a bunch of stuff on there. So I invite you to check that out if it pings for you.
Awesome, Amanda, such a generous offer. Again, all of you women just literally pour so much into all of our viewers. So thank you for that. My offer is going to be my 3 keys to manifest a soul-aligned life. And if you reach out to me on email, because you will get a couple emails that send, when you sign up, you go to manifestbyrenee.com and you put in your name and your email address. I'm going to send you all the goodies. And then if you reply to one of the emails, ask for an activation, I will customize an activation for you for where you're at today. So so much goodness for here, that this is literally available for you to tap into. You don't have to go try to find things on Google and, try to find out who's trustworthy, who can I work with, all these things. Like, we are here to provide some more health and happiness and spiritual tools for each and every one of you. So definitely dive in. We want you to receive, feel grounded in your receive, and come and check out all of our sites.
Yeah. And also, if you haven't already joined our Facebook group, The Glowing Goddess, we will put the link below. We'd love to have you join us. You'll get all Krysta's health hacks, and all the good little nuggets will be posted on there. So feel free to join us there. We'd love to have you. And we love this community and the sense of community we're creating.
Yes, we do so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And we will see you next time on the next episode of The Glowing Goddess.
Bye.
Bye.